IPOB had never advocated for violence in any shape or form. The mandate of IPOB is not the creation of Biafra, because Biafra existed and is still existing legally. It's the restoration of Biafra through a peaceful means. That is what is contained in our code of conduct. That is what's contained in all our policy book. IPOB seeks to do that by mobilization of the grassroots, educating the grassroots. That is why when Nnamdi Kanu came, he was going around every country where we have Biafrans, discussing with people, telling them what is wrong with Nigeria, the flaws with Nigeria, who we are as Biafrans, why we should restore Biafra back to his former glory. He went around for many years doing that. He did that physically. He also did that by opening Radio Biafra, where he communicates to the people. You understand? He even went back to Nigeria at some point to go to a specific location all across Biafra land, educating the people, organizing the people, mobilizing the people. That is why IPOB today has a strong grassroots base. Yes. That is the biggest strategy. The first strategy Mazi Nnamdi Kanu achieved, or IPOB achieved, we mobilized from the grassroots. And we had a solid grassroots base, not only in Nigeria, but also worldwide. IPOB is available, duly registered in over 78 countries of this world. We exist in over 100, but officially registered in 78. You can go and verify it. We now have both solid grassroots base in Nigeria and solid diaspora base all over the world. You understand? That is the strength of IPOB. The strategy of IPOB in achieving Biafra peacefully is through advocacy. Political advocacy, legal advocacy. We also use international engagement and diplomacy. All these are known peaceful means of getting things done. We also use civil disobedience. We protest peacefully. All the protests with IPOB members in Biafra land and diaspora.
Okay, so good evening, good afternoon, good morning. It's good evening from here. Now here is 9:30, which is no, it was 5 minutes past 9, which in Biafra land is that's 5 minutes past 10 o'clock. So yeah, this looks like it's been my pattern, coming a bit later in the evening or later in the night. It's because of my schedule and the rest of the thing. So I welcome each and every one of you to this live broadcast this evening. I can see my sister, my senior comrade, Omote Biafra. Omote is my senior as far as this struggle is concerned. So Omote, I welcome you. I welcome each and every one of you. So you can see from my title, I said IPOB. In my last broadcast, we have continued to talk about our struggle, our movement. Yeah, because yes, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu laid a solid foundation of awareness, creation of awareness of whom we are of our mission. He had the vision and he tabled it before the world. And many of us keyed in. So today we have continued to build on that principle. So why am I talking much about IPOB? I decided to continue to hammer on IPOB, indigenous people of Biafra, our mission, our pursuit, which we have laid open to the world. Why am I doing this again tonight? I saw what the Nigerian military published today on their website about us, because that has been their mission, to bring us down. Exactly the reason they went to Kenya to abduct Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Extraordinary rendition him and finally convicted him. Just all efforts to clamp down Biafra struggle. The same reason Nigeria said that they have proscribed themselves, because as far as the world is concerned, IPOB remains a legal freedom fighting movement, well recognized, well respected all over the world. I have said this before. If the conviction on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, if the proscription on IPOB has anything to do on us, by now we will no longer be operating. I wouldn't have on my camera speaking about IPOB, but the same reason that we have continued to operate all over the world is because the world understands us, our mission, our pursuit is very open and bare. Yeah, I think it was yesterday I talked about our registration in about 78 countries in the world. And all over these 78 countries where IPOB registered, there has never been a cease on our operation. There has never been any problem. Starting from the time Nigeria said that they have illegally prescribed themselves, as well the illegal conviction on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Those did not affect us. Even in the midst that Nigeria is beginning to have international attention due to the brutality, Nigeria's inability to curtail killings and genocides. Even the very US has never raised an eyebrow against IPOB, against Biafra struggle, because they knew whom we are. They understand what we are doing. They knew that we have not deviated. So when I saw this very news today from the headquarters, they call them headquarters of Nigerian army, you know, this their army thing, saying that the Nigerian military invaded IPOB camp, the one they called Motherland. And I saw what Mazi Nnamdi posted, because that Motherland in Imo State is not today we have started to hear about it. It is a den of Ndoto pilots. That is where they are hiding to commit all manner of evil. If you are following what we are doing in the past, IPOB has released series of press releases in dispute, in refute to Operation Enolo Axis. Let me bring it up to read what Mazi Nnamdi posted. Without him posting it, if you are following IPOB, reading IPOB releases, you would be familiar with all this, because is one of the area we made strong campaign. And that is why many people, you know, when you talk of certain things in Biafra land, Many honest people will tell you no. These people have debunked this. The hand of IPOB is not in this. They have refuted this. Let me bring it up. I shared it, yeah. So, okay. So, Mazi Nnamdi said, okay, according to the headquarters Nigerian Army, troops storm Mother Valley, crush IPOB ESN stronghold, Ndoshi, which we don't have anything to do. So, according to what Mazi Nnamdi posted, he said, attention, Biafrans and Nigerians who want to be informed, Fonde Choleno, the Nigerian military and their biased media outlets have resumed their dissemination of falsehoods, labeling those auto criminals as IPOB ESN. We have warned you all that the sudden emergence of these criminals, which the Nigerian army asserts they have detained and some have been killed, is all a premeditated scheme. Even those backing those criminals, so he's talking about that very motherland, and he brought up, we remember it was last year, the same Nigerian army released news to say, made a podcast to say that they have clamped down on these criminals. What's his name again? Jay-Z and J Makeup and the other one. Yahoo, something Yahoo. That criminal. And suddenly, those criminals resurfaced. And this same military that made the previous announcement to say that these guys have been eliminated, they came out again. They could not even refute it, because they knew what they are doing. It is the same criminals now. Probably they are telling people now they have resurfaced in the motherland, because all along, even Hope Uzodinma, Imo State Police knew the people operating in that valley. Even it's been long expected that criminal den should have been invaded. People of that area has been expecting invasion, military invasion, longest time on that very valley, because it is a well-known criminal den of the autopilots, where they hide to commit all manner of atrocities against the communities in all axis. So in the previous, IPOB stated it openly in different publications on Radio Biafra. How many times was it announced on Radio Biafra during Mazi Nnamdi's broadcast? Even to the extent that he will even call out names of these criminals. They continue to echo it that IPOB have nothing to do with this valley. But because there is already plan to destroy the name of IPOB, you see, that is why when I hear some of these wolves, I'm beginning to call them wolves, because their behavior suggests so. When you see them, this rebranded autopilot in our midst, I'm happy at least they are not they are not part of the struggle. They are operating from outside. When you see criminals that operate from outside the building, the fence is walled, the gate is locked. What those thieves normally would do, they will stay outside, they'll be throwing stones into the compound, because they have a mission to destroy. That is the way I am seeing these wolves that are rising among us, against us. When you see them shouting, telling themselves that The DOS has not done anything. You can see the emptiness in them. Some of them will tell you the struggle is stagnant. Some of them will tell you in the past 5 years, what have you achieved? What has the leadership achieved? I keep on saying it. If not for anything, the protection on this very struggle which this leadership has done in the last 5 years, it is more than enough of every other thing. Our people will always say that not quite a living dog. I mean, no one didn't na any achieve. That we are still expecting Biafra is because IPOB is still operational. In a situation where IPOB do no longer operate or do no longer exist, where then is the hope of this Biafra? Where then is the hope of the voices speaking for Biafran people? Where then is the hope of the watchdog over Biafra land? Me and you, we knew the intensity of attack that has come on this struggle in the last 5 years. It has never happened this way. The attack was intensified from the part of Nigerian government, the people that wants to see the end of IPOB. Because immediately they captured Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They thought once he is captured, IPOB is automatically captured. It surprised them that even at the abduction, extraordinary rendition, and continuous detention, and finally conviction of the leader, they expected the struggle to have winded down without knowing about the people in the structure. That is why we have continued to emphasize and to echo about the structure of IPOB and the need to continue to protect it. If you see some of our hardcore comrades, that is why anytime anybody wants to have a go on the DOS, you see the eyes of men and women turned red. Not because we have connection with the DOS leadership. No. There is something Annie Kings wrote today regarding the operation of IPOB media warriors. Be it the writers, be it the commenters, be it the broadcasters. We are working for we are working with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We are not working for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We are working for the DOS leadership. Sorry, we are working with the DOS leadership. We are not working for DOS leadership. Anytime you are working for anybody and you are getting or expecting payment, salary from such person, all you do is towards unnecessary glorification of that individual, because your living depends on that person. It makes a difference when you are working with. If you are working with somebody, it gives a sense that who are you working for them? Because if you have a mentality that you are working for that is why many people that we are working for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, at his absence, they have all disappeared. Because they were doing eye service. They were working for him instead of working with him. That is the difference. When you are working with somebody, you are working towards a common goal, a common objective. Even at an instance where you could no longer see that particular person, but for the fact that you have your eyes fixed on the very objective which you are working for, you can never draw back. You can never draw back. When your eyes is fixed in the working for Biafra struggle, you are working towards the restoration of Biafra struggle. That is your focus. That is your eyes. Anytime you don't see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, your focus remains the same, because you have an objective. You have a goal that you want to fulfill. Anytime you don't see any member of the DOS, you are still maintaining your stance, because you are not working for them. Rather, you are working with them. You are collaborating with them. You are in partnership with them. Anytime you have such mentality, it's going to be very difficult for you to get derailed from this struggle. It's going to be very difficult. We have seen the struggle going through difficulty in the last 5 years. There has never been a time in the history of this movement when the Nigerian government has unleashed such an attack on the struggle in comparison to what we have experienced in the last 5 years. The Nigerian police force had it as a corporate plan, organizational efforts to bring down IPOB all over the southeast. Before, I used to talk about the police PROs. All the police PROs in Igbo land, in Biafra land, are all Igbo men and women, because they are strategically placed to use them to label IPOB, to use them to bring down IPOB. That is why anywhere there is criminality, those PRO will quickly come out. By the time they tell people, I am Tochukwu Ikenga, that is an Igbo guy, you want to listen to him because he has an Igbo. He's an Igbo. You might think as an Igbo guy that he will not deceive so much. We saw the one in Imo. What's the name? Henry Okoye, that was tagging all the crimes in Igbo as IPOB, as ESN. That is the serious attack the struggle went through. Not only that, they decided to use even people in the struggle. That is the emergence of Ekbelima, of Nelly of Igbo. All manners. They all rose. Thankfully, some of the hardcores that resisted, we all fought it, we battled it out. Thank God that phase went. I am talking about the attack on the struggle, which through the collaboration of the leadership and me and you, we navigated, we jumped it, and the struggle has continued to be. I keep on saying it. We have never been provoked as in this last 5 years. The treatment on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was much well enough for leadership to make callous pronouncement, but they were not moved for that. Mass slaughter on our comrades. We remember the ones massacred in Aba. Those young guys on white and white that came to protest about the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. A lot of things happened that would have led to serious battle or confrontation from IPOB that, if not well taken care of, would have led to serious destruction or injury on the struggle, especially from the international, because the target of Nigeria has been they want IPOB to cease from operating in the diaspora, because diaspora has been the very back carrying the struggle. So the whole target and effort is to make a presentation to convince international communities to clamp down on IPOB. But it wasn't so, due to discreet interventions and handling controls of the people in the leadership. When we go back, we remember how in 2022 IPOB was put in the terrorism index. We have forgotten that. That was the effort of Nigeria. Remember, these guys, Nigeria, they have money. We saw how they released $9 million just to lobby. These are the people capable to buy even presidents of international communities. People that are capable to buy anybody in order to get the work done for them. It was the intervention of this very leadership which some of the wolves now want us to destroy. It was their intervention that made that terrorism index, which they placed IPOB on in 2022, became non-effective. Some of us did not know the step these guys took, the leadership took, in regards to that terrorism index. It did not only end in our social media debunking. Yes, IPOB media, we did a good job in regards to that. But they took extra step, because that would have been a starting point to hold us down internationally, which once that is done, that is the end. That is the end. Anytime we cease operating, Biafra, coming of Biafra, if there is another way God can do it, there is another way God can do it. When you see the wolves going round the struggle, telling you, let us join hand. I have said it number of times, how one of them, how he came to me, he called me on the phone last year, 1 hour, 20 minutes, I will keep on talking about this. Because I knew it is not only me they have approached. I'm sure they are still going to different people. Just the same way they will always open their camera to begin to use blackmails and lies against this very leadership. Because they want to unleash attack on them. They want them be destroyed by all means. That is the steps they are taking now. I remember, when they tell you the DOS has not done anything, even one of the bishop, I think it was the bishop of Oji River, that not too long he went to see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in Sokoto. According to that bishop, he said that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu told him that most of the charges they placed on him were the atrocities committed by Simon Ekpa? Is there any of the charges against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that was as a result of what IPOB did in this last 5 years? None. Because this very leadership, if anybody talk of protection of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, nobody protected Mazi Nnamdi Kanu like this very leadership. That is why they were so cautious. Nigerian government abducted extraordinary rendition Mazi Nnamdi Kanu since June 2021. 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. 5 good years, more than 5 good years. They were not able to lay hold on the charges they will use against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That is why during those trials, they kept on changing charges. And look at us now, they have scrapped this. They will bring another one. They put IPOB on trial to see what we will commit in order to lay hand on it. This very leadership knew that. They knew any mistake from IPOB is going to land on the head of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They made sure, despite provocations, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was not put at risk. Not only that, this very DOS leadership secured discharge, acquitted and discharged on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu using the IPOB legal team, October 13th, 2022. That were the efforts of this leadership. You know, many a times they will ask you, what is the DOS doing to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? The DOS leadership has secured release on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu 2022 through the IPOB legal team, Barrister Ifeanyi Jofo and Ozokome. It is the decision of whoever, the siblings and their cliques, to make a change or to make a U-turn from the victory secured. It entirely remains their problem. I have someone yesterday from my unit that asked me, what is the plan? What about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? I explained to her that this very leadership has done what they could do for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Through the IPOB legal team, they have secured discharged and acquitted for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It was another group that made a decision to change it. Because what they would have done, you would have left the matter with the lawyers that secure that victory. Until then, if that victory is not yet then materialized, you will hold them responsible. But you did not allow them. So the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu remaining in prison is a situation, is a case, is an issue. The siblings led by Kanu Takano should be able to answer and explain to the people. It is not in the hand of the DOS. It is not. In the last a year or so, we have seen IPOB keep on, in order to build a reputable, well-acknowledged struggle. Different liaison offices were open in different countries. Because we have come to a stage we now need to start to interact with the world. When you present your matter to the world, they want to know whom you are. They want to know where do you live, what is your address. You know, when you come to Obodo Oyibo in diaspora, the issue of address is a serious thing. In UK here, there is no employer that will give you job if you don't have evidence of where you reside. They are not asking you for one evidence, up to 2 or 3 evidences. They want to make sure no human being that you are not sleeping no fear. Because when you have an address, it is an integrity person that have an address. If you don't go address, he knows. So each time the leadership goes on one diplomatic mission or the other, they will always be asked, if we need to contact you, what is your address? What is your address? That is why there will need that we begin to have addresses in different countries, because we have proved to the world that we are all over the world. It is not only in UK, it is not only in Germany. We are all over the world registered. Therefore, any organization, any freedom fighting group that is capable, able to provide addresses in different locations, in different parts of the world, it makes your demand genuine. It intensifies your demand. You'll be taken serious. If you are observant, when you look at our memo, you know that memo, the HOD will always release. When you look at those memo, look downwards, you will see our addresses. You will see IPOB headquarters in Bremen, Germany. You will see our address in Spain. And there is a plan for liaison office now in South Africa, because we are extending. Now, if we have any dealing with any international this thing, and you present your memo, where you make your presentations, when they look below and see your addresses, these guys are genuine, well-grounded freedom fighting movement. It intensified whom we are and our genuinity. These are some of the efforts the DOS made. When you see the wolves asking you, you are just opening offices, you are just doing this, it is because they do not understand what we are doing. Many of them don't even know what freedom entails. Some of them even thought, no, I may pay camera and I shout. That is why, if for some of them, Susi Hamadawa, so rude. Sorry to be saying this. These are the things they understand Biafra struggle to be. Ibane camera na call all manners of rubbish. Some, they saw it as a place where they fill in their pocket. That is why you can see some of them asking IPOB, you people should be paying us. HOD, Mazi Nnamdi start to pay us because to them they saw Biafra struggle as avenue Ebahaga Benelini, stomach infrastructure, career freedom fighters. That is why when those expectations are being cut off, you will see them unleashing all manners of attack. He be the blackmail. With the Mazi Nnamdi saying on go Nigerian government ego. With European rep, I say oje contact Asari Dokobo. Just junketing from one story or the other. When you watch these wolves, I continue to say it, their stories are not the same. They keep on changing their stories. Today they will tell you favoritism is their anger. Tomorrow they will tell you you have refused to pay my rent. Next tomorrow the other one will tell you because you refuse to be paying us salary. The other person will say because the DOS are not calling us to thank us. That is where I started. You don't expect thank you when you are working with somebody. You are collaborating. You are in partnership towards your goal. Anytime you begin to expect members of the DOS to start to call you to say thank you or to reward you, igada. Because the people in a respect are co-laborers with you. They too need your encouragement. The amount of attack, frustration, allegation, blackmails meted on these guys in the last 5 years. If it's you, you might not stand. These are the guys they told us that sold Onyendu. That is you guys don't remember things. That is where it started 5 years ago. Ona fe benine. Ekberima use it to deceive many. They sold Onyendu. They sold Onyendu. Just like in Kenafio's now. The one in vogue now is that they want to take over. They are the one telling the media warriors to start to insult Onyendu. On Kenafio now. Today I was going through this one you guys calls phenomena. I found that because that phenomena blocked me. So many of the things on there, you know, I use my second account. Because that my second account, I hardly go through it. But when I went through it, and what for all manners of allegations, this that guy has been heaping on this very leadership, and on our holy people know they have what's a philosopher, phenomena, philosophy. You know, they can say, it says, okay, Nanka. I also stated that DOS is behind media warriors, is behind media warriors attack on Mazi Nnamdi. You see how they have continued to use emotional blackmail to deceive many of our people. If you ask this guy Keta to explain this, explain to me how it is the DOS telling people what to say. I'm happy this guy, Anyi King, I've mentioned it, wrote something like that. Somebody like me, what to do. I came to this live broadcast this night on my own. Nobody has ever told me, broadcast. Nobody. Nobody has ever told me to write this or to write that. I don't need to. I am a matured woman, not a struggle. Decide to work for myself, for my generation, for my future, for my children. That is why I don't need anybody calling me to encourage me. I don't need encouragement. This is a decision I personally made by myself. And I see it as me working for myself. I don't see myself working for DOS. I don't see myself working for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or anybody in the struggle. I am working for myself. This is the kind of mentality that will keep you going in this struggle. I have said it before. All of them that we are working for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, most of them has failed. Most of them has disappeared, including Mandine Egubu, the broadcasters, including Mandine Dede. Because when you can no longer see your motivator, fatigue takes place. You become tired. Before your money disappear, So what we have continued to say, we laborers, with the co-laborers, the leaders, we have responsibility towards each other. Yesterday, I talked about the activities and the targets of the wolves as far as this struggle is concerned. It has been a pattern that has continued to repeat itself. Before a man is captured, the captivator will always first of all hold down on the very strength of that person. It's just like Onye Jiegbe. For you to bring down Onye Jiegbe down, you gotta a way Ijikbadoya and snatch the gun away from him, because that gun will care. This is what they are doing against this struggle. This struggle has pillars. It has structures. Anytime one aspect, one pillar of the structure is tampered, it has an effect on the whole building, on the whole movement. As far as this struggle is concerned, we understand the role of the structure of the DOS leadership. Many attacks that we experienced at the beginning of surgence of the autopilot was directly on them. That is why we had many things about them. That is why we had no how they sold Onyendu. At a time in the platform of Ekbenema, they announced that it is no more them in charge, to destroy them, because it is the strongest pillar, the strongest structure holding the house. Once this structure is pulled up, there will be adverse effect on the whole structure, on the whole movement. And this is the very target of the new autopilot. You know, when I call them autopilot, it's not because naturally no, because their pattern is the same as the pattern of the autopilot. Autopilots came with allegation And it is the same allegation that this new surge of wolves has come in with. Autopilot came in with manipulation of people's mind. And that is the exact way these new criminals has taken hold. That is why each time you see them coming online, what do you think they are coming to do? To wash your brain. To tell you how the struggle has been stagnant. To tell you how the DOS has been undoshi. To tell you that the DOS are not doing anything. And the more you listen, the more it keeps on going into your brain. If you are the kind that cannot control your emotions, if you are the type that assimilates junks, before you know it, those seeds they are sowing out will begin to sink into your brain. That is why at times I will tell people, if you don't have a strong mentality, avoid those criminals. Block them. Do block them for your mental health, for your sanity. For your sanity. If you watch Ekberima in those days, Ekberima comes online 2 times. He will come in the morning and in the evening. If good morning, on a day. Welcome, Omata knows how to do it. Welcome. Ubutu akoko. That is the exact thing we are saying. And the Ekberima did not stop at that. At the time, he started to tell people, stop contributing money to IPOB. Rather, be giving me super chat. Whatever is super chat. When super chat is no more in vogue, he converted it to weekly ESN fundraising. He was calling it fundraising every Saturday. And I told him for ESN. That is the same method of these new wolves. When I talk about wolves, I am referring to Darlington Okpala Ezechukwu. I am referring to Benjamin Madobu. I am referring to Canon Takano and Emmanuel Meme. I am referring to Elochukwu Philomena Ohagi. I am referring to Nkena Takesi Eze na Austria. I am referring to Nkena na Italy, Paul Achebe. I am referring to Itiboliba Chalugo, Itibonkom, Itimpataka. Now they have recruited 2 autopilot women in the name of Ejiro. Ejiro has been an autopilot and she remains an autopilot. She's now into the game. This is the same woman that ran away. She used the excuse of favoritism and ran away. Now she saw there is an ongoing attack to bring IPO, to attack IPOB. She's backing into broadcast. Not only her, they have recruited 1 criminal woman, Ifi Banos. One of the women that works so closely with Azoka from US. She had problem with Azoka Chopia from Autopilot Women Group. And he's been going around looking for where to attach himself, where to attach herself. Now she's now attaching herself to this new set of wolves. Wolves of Mbetusalaha, wolves of Chalugaha, wolves of Darlington. Yes, I know Nama Emi Bihina Akmaona because you guys are too small. But I decide, because I'm like, when I talk about people, and I don't talk about people indirectly. I like to call names so that the people I'm talking to will understand whom I am talking about. These are the groups that wants you to stop supporting IPOB. These are the wolves that wants you to hate DOS. That is why they have continued now to champion Avid. Avid, they don't even know the people involved. Once there's a publication written Avid, you see them sharing it. These are the new leadership they elected for themselves. Just all efforts to demonize the DOS. But some of us has continued to stand and tell them happily they are not even into the family. They are balulu. They will prodigal sons. That's exactly whom these guys are. I continue to say there are people that when they begin to misbehave, it will give me a concern. If you see somebody that has been supporting the movement financially, now could use here, now got protest, now got rally, this the obedience, now follow the rules. Anytime this set of people begin to misbehave, it will give me concern. But among these things that I have counted, these wolves, anywhere, any of them that are involved in this. And that is why I keep saying they are operating outside the movement. They are not inside the movement. Yes, I do understand our people back home. There's no rally or protest going back home, which is well understood. And because of the clampdown, Ade Emekarizi unit meetings is well understood. But because you are still obedient to the leadership, Ide will tell any headache, you are inside the family. In fact, we even place our people back home, the subordinate ones, we place them highly. We cherish them. We love them. Because even despite attacks from the Nigerian government, have with you and continues to support the struggle in their areas, different areas they have been supporting. They have continued to support. Many a times, in order to confuse you, even the very project that has seen testimonies, people has rejoiced over, they still want to demonize it. In the last 3 years, 2 years, IPOB initiated for the first time agricultural project. When you look at the Southeast, before we started to talk about agriculture, there were nobody mentioning about it. The governors don't think in that direction. It was when we raised that topic, we saw the governors started to talk about how to empower farmers. I've said it before, the wife of Soludo took it over. In fact, it has become her ministry. Farming ministry. Where did she have it from? From IPOB. Because we knew and understand the importance of ensuring that food security in our land. We have continued to talk about how some of the cows is Ugwausa. We have seen individuals from the Fulani Ebahana Abanyegesi Hena Efi. Mandina dakbo efi. You know what I mean by a dakbo efi? Now, have a sexual intercourse with efi. We always see them. You know, and these are the guys who don't even know the diseases they have. They've imagined the kind of things, poisons they release on the very food import. That is why IPOB, a time we championed on those food, we targeted on those very food our people has been depending on the North for, like carrots, onions. These are the efforts, the things government supposed to be the ones doing it. A freedom fighting movement like IPOB took it over to be doing and handling it on their own. And you see some of these wolves telling you IPOB leadership, they don't know what they are doing. What have they achieved? They wouldn't know. Had they been their salaries were paid as they demanded, then they will be singing and be telling you IPOB is working. And the ones that wanted their rent paid, had it been their rent were paid, by now she will be shouting on top of her voice for IPOB. And the ones say Abahuru, they were members, Manaha Bahuru. Somebody like Metisele, before he was expelled, it was noted down for years he was not contributing financially dues to IPOB. He wasn't. Oh, in the category event, he even wants IPOB to buy tickets for him. Somebody reminded me today in the comment section, the time IPOB went to Belgium for that protest, I think 2022 or 2021. He went there without booking for hotel. These are the stomach infrastructures, people that came into IPOB to gain. You went to a different country and refused to pay for hotel, book your hotel. You had no money, you had no money, commute around. You went there empty-handed, depending on IPOB to foot your bills. These are the people that came with different motives. The same him, Melekomela initiate katakata. In fact, let me go that katakata initiate. Also, some of us that this thing get destroyed by this struggle. When he started to tell us that an IPOB needed to launch attack on Christians, he was pushing that IPOB should start to burn churches in Biafra land. IPOB starts in Bible a joker. See what oh, that guy. That if anybody comes on a unit meeting, put anything about Okasibu wires, see what 2 by 2 wires. Oh, that criminal. The day he called me on the phone, I told him, anything balloon. There's no any single and positive thing that guy has contributed to this struggle. He came for destruction. Abmission. The same him started to say now that we are no more talking about a Christian genocide, that we should be talking about Christian genocide because US are looking. He's telling us to start to talk about Christian genocide. Meanwhile, he's the one that wanted to initiate genocide against Christians in Igbo. These are unstable people, mentally unstable wolves, very, very unstable. When they are talking, I even wonder, people listening to them, what they're even getting from these guys. koyeli imo ihe wu koyeli ana akọ ka ndara akọrọ gbaga akọrọ gbada. These are the people campaigning, telling you, stop paying your dues. Let me read what he posted. This is a guy that have never paid due. A guy that have never paid due. A guy that doesn't understand what it means to maintain a struggle. Kedi page here. The page let me read for you what he wrote somewhere. Okay, I'll see. Let me wear my glasses and read it properly. I'll see. Contribute money to these current members of the weak DOS at your own risk. Anything funding must come from a more powerful. It is an order. We are IPOB. We are supporting Avid. Another statement. For you to understand the mental state of this guy. I'm going to share him mark the quality too much in case he more her. I'll say. We are IPOB. We are supporting Avid. Now, we are IPOB. We are supporting Avid, Rising Sun, and Ambassador. So what is saying now? IPOB should no longer support IPOB. Hey! And these are the people are listening to. We are IPOB. We are supporting Avid. Doesn't make any sense. You don't want people to support IPOB whom they belong to. Now to support a different group. You don't know whom they are. You don't know their vision. You don't know their mission. You don't know how they pursue their vision. Nobody knows. Then, let me read the one this girl posted. Hey! So, how on earth are you guys listening to these people? What are you learning from these people? The one that calls Achalugo says, she wrote this one yesterday. Before I go to bed, before I go to bed, stop paying dues in IPOB until MAK comes out. They are not using your money to support MAK. Don't say I didn't warn you. Now, you know when I call her it's Boriba, also, they are not using your money for MAK. So now, what this girl understand financial support to IPOB mean we are using financial contribution in IPOB to look after people. From Ihona, her own mental state is telling her that contribution to IPOB is for personal upkeep. Yes, I do understand Mazi Nnamdi Kanu as the leader is being taken care of. But the mentality of this girl, all she knew about financial contribution IPOB, AG sort people out. That is why she came and told you, you people use me. You use me in the media. After shouting and broadcasting for you people, you refuse to pay my rent. Because to her, she believed that the financial contribution should be used to be used for, looking after them, after people. Somebody like her, you should be paying her rent. Somebody like Darlington will tell you, you should be paying my salary. This is their mental state. This is what they believe. That That is why he's now telling you, since IPOB is not using those money on us, therefore stop giving it to them. These are the guys, see, Bobatala into Biafra struggle without having a basic knowledge of what freedom fighting is all about, of what the struggle entails, of the responsibilities of the struggle. These guys don't understand that is why they are telling you to stop contributing. Because to them they believe in they don't understand the services IPOB has continued to render towards the progress of the struggle. Probably they don't even know that ESN is being maintained. Probably they don't know now probably they have to be when they fell ill, you have to treat them. Ordinary people will not be in the house in Nigeria. When I was in Nigeria, I suffer from malaria every month. Talk of people in the bushes, they get injured. These are the areas we are channeling our services, our finance. That is why somebody like me, even if when I remember these guys, with these people. When I remember our comrades in diverse prisons, see how we cannot abandon these guys. We have to foot their bills. We have to foot the bills of the legal team going to seek for their release. When I remember our comrades that died in the struggle during service, we cannot abandon them. The wives that lost their husbands, the children that lost their dads, we will not. If we do that, the man is so wicked. This is what we are paying for. This is what we are contributing for. We are not contributing rent. We are not contributing salary. These are young men that should go and look for work, that should live meaningfully for themselves and their families. That is why I sanction the recent IPOB financial handling control. It is no longer ego a settle assault mumu. People like Darlington that has nothing he's doing. The worst we ego. I remember the money he collects from Wikunso, he will tell you that money is chicken change. He has said it with honor in his broadcast. He will tell you this is the money that he puts in the pocket and go to bar. Nego jala changu. Nankuja chongwang. Nakona like your mwang. These are the criminals, entities that should have had nothing to do with Biafra struggle. Manaha bulanya chado on the pockets of people now suffer under cold weather. Obelego haje anegwete to sustain and maintain the struggle. That is where their eyes is fixed. The several broadcasts he did, he keep on calling on Mazi Nnamdi, you must pay us salary. Start to pay us. We deserve it. We are the mouthpiece. If not us, IPOB must suffer. Will suffer. We are the one bringing the struggle up. People with ulterior motives. All those same people on our now do not support the struggle. I want to bring it to your notice. Anybody that is supporting this struggle as it is now, have a rest of mind that again is not being used to service their hode or service personality. It is being channeled straight to the very cause of the struggle. A time of somebody, Ibulego IPOB Banaga, has gone. The way the financial setup has been done now. There is nothing like one signatory. There are many eyes, 4 sides. When you come to organizational financial setup, there are oversight. You are seeing the movement of money. Anytime 1 penny is being transferred, you see it. You see the description. You see the purpose. You see where the money is going. That is why anytime you are contributing now for IPOB, you are maintaining services in the struggle. It goes direct. There is no more time. It's no more a time where salary ndoku na aka zuru ezu. Like in Nayanya that resides in Germany. Germany is a good country in Malolo. If Naka Moku Zurugi, the services you are rendering to IPOB is not a full-time service. It's something that you can devote with the new computer age. You are not doing much because money naga electronically, you are not doing much. So it is no more a time as a whole lump of sum is being used to pay somebody's salary. It is very annoying. And the payers, that time has gone. Whatever little token you contribute is being channeled to the services. Services. We are not servicing personalities. Our resources is going to the right direction. Enwere onye na-eli ego anyị. Enwere onye na-ezu ego anyị. Enwere onye a na-akwụ salary ndị aka na okwu zuru. Our money is being managed and controlled well. We are in the right hand. Don't be dissuaded by the wolves. The wolves that have not contributed anything to the struggle. They don't mind if the struggle is being destroyed. After all, they have not made any sacrifice. I remember a story in the Bible, but 2 women that are contesting the ownership of a newborn baby. The newborn baby and the 2 women were taken to the king, or the King Solomon. I'm not too sure again. So a very woman that knows that that child doesn't belong to her. What she said to the king, the child, use a knife and cut the child. Let the other woman have one part, and I will have one part. This is the suggestion of a woman that is not the owner of the child. A callous request, a callous suggestion, because she's not the owner of the child. If the child dies, because a child that is divided into two automatically is dead, she doesn't mind if the child died. After all, she didn't suffer. She didn't carry the pregnancy. She didn't go through the labor. So if the child dies, let him die. That's what he meant. But the other woman that is the owner of the child told the king, no, don't divide the child. Because he knew when the child is divided, the child will automatically be dead. She suggested, let the child be left. Let the child grow. When the child grows, then he will recognize whom the mom is. Anything you made sacrifices to, anywhere you made great contributions, your energy is being channeled in the protection of that very thing, because you know you have suffered for it. You have made sacrifices for it. You have contributed hugely to it. But you see the other criminal that had no attach. The child, this is how these wolves are. That is why they tell you, do not contribute again to IPOB. They want IPOB dead. That is why they tell you, let us destroy DOS. Darlington said, we must destroy them. Methuselah said, we must break them. Achalugo said, they must go. That one, they make me laugh so much. Because they have not labored. They have not made any sacrifice. They've not made any contributions. They want it to go down. They want it destroyed. It is left for me and you to continue to stand tall. As for me, you can never get me down when it comes to continuous services to this struggle, continuous support to the leadership. That is why I'm not only standing, I am standing tall. I am sitting gidigba for this struggle, for this leadership. And with you and me, we will continue to march on. All hail Biafra. And here I bring this to an end. Thank you for joining me, and I say God bless you and good night from here.